Hi there, I'm Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition, and in this video I want to show you guys a home gym boxing workout that can be done by beginners but will have you burning calories like a champ. This video may be a little longer than most, and for that I'm sorry, but I'll explain a few things as we go along and offer up some alternatives if you don't have all the stuff that you see in this video. I will also leave links in the description below on how to use each piece of equipment individually. We're going to kick it old school by doing 15 rounds of intense fat-destroying boxing action. So that's going to be 3 rounds of jump rope, 3 rounds of shadow boxing, 3 rounds of the double-ended bag, 3 rounds of the heavy bag, and finally 3 rounds of the speed bag to cool down. So my friend, I'm not going to lie, this will be tough, but it will also get you into phenomenal shape and sharpen your boxing skills at the same time. And best of all, it will be much more entertaining and effective than simply running on a treadmill. As I do this workout this morning, it's a balmy -3 degrees Celsius. But that doesn't matter because we're going to be sweating in no time. I will also leave a link in the description below the video on how and why I built this home gym. And as I promised in that video, I'm now going to start posting videos showing you guys some ideas on how to use all of that stuff to help you get into the absolute greatest shape possible. My goal here is not to turn you into the next Mayweather, but to have you practice your skills, have fun, and just destroy some fat from the comfort of your own home gym. Okay, so here we go. Now once again, yes, I know I'm dressed terribly, but I want you to be able to see me, and I'm also wearing multiple layers of clothing to keep warm rather than wearing one heavy jacket that will slow me down. Now, I don't care how I look, and you shouldn't either, but it's imperative that I'm comfortable and able to move easily. Next, I'll put on my shoes. I have my trusty Everlast boxing shoes, but you just make sure that you have a comfortable pair of running shoes and not, let's say, some steel-toe boots or something, and you'll be doing just fine. Before I think of hitting anything, even the air, I always put on my hand wraps. They are just as important, if not more so, than the gloves. And I'll leave a link below if you want to learn how to properly put them on. They will also help keep my hands warm on these cold days. So, hand wraps, use them. Next, I'm going to start my playlist on my Bluetooth speaker because it's so much easier to train when you have your own personal soundtrack. It's your gym, and so crank that music up. Next, I'm going to use my smartphone to keep track of the time. There are tons of interval timer apps that can be downloaded for absolutely free. So do yourself a favor and get one. This particular one is awesome because it has green for go and red for rest. If you are a beginner, then set the timer for 3 minutes of work followed by 1 minute of rest in between rounds. If you are advanced, then you may set it for a 30-second break in between rounds. And that's what I will be doing here. So if you're new, 3 minutes on and 1 minute off. And if you're advanced, 3 minutes on and 30 seconds off. Alright, so let's get ready to rumble! We will warm up literally with some skipping. I'm using an Everlast speed rope that you can get for under 10 bucks. It's slightly stiff and frozen here, but it's going to warm up pretty quick. And I'll leave a link below on how to skip like a pro and why this type of rope is best. So, for the first 3 rounds, you will need to prepare your body for what is to come. It is imperative that you properly warm up because you don't want to pull a muscle or injure yourself right off the bat. Remember that for me, I'm older at 41 and it's freezing, and so I'm definitely going to take the time to warm up thoroughly. You can check out that link for jumping rope like a pro, but for now just notice that I'm not jumping more than an inch or so off of the floor. I'm 210 pounds, and if I were to jump a foot off the ground, my knees would take an absolute pounding, and so easy does it. I also alternate from foot to limit leg fatigue, and jump just high enough to clear the rope. The ceiling in here is about 8 feet and the rope clears just fine. So if you don't have a treadmill but you do have a limited budget, well, a jump rope is simply fantastic. Just notice that I use my momentum and my wrist to keep the rope going. My shoulders are not swinging the rope. Your shoulders are going to get a great workout here, I promise, but you don't want to fatigue them by swinging that rope too widely. If at any time you feel shortness of breath or an extreme muscle fatigue, just stop for a moment and continue as soon as you're able. No drill sergeant is forcing you to go if you can't. So whenever you need to, take a moment to regroup. I'm telling you, I'd rather have a client pause 100 times and regroup and finish the entire 15 rounds than to simply quit and walk away after only a round or two. It's all a mental game, and one that you are going to win. We will do this skipping for 3 consecutive rounds, and you can take that 1-minute break in between rounds. Because it's cold in here, I'm just going to skip continuously through all 3 rounds, and also through my 30-second breaks as well. Okay, drop your speed rope and let's move on. And we're going to move on to doing 3 rounds of shadow boxing to get that blood really flowing. This should now be round 4 for you. And even though we've been skipping, I'm still going to ease into this. So my round 4 will consist of some shadow boxing, but with movement only. And you're going to see here what I mean. I'm going to start off nice and slow. Now notice I'm not throwing any punches. I'm just using some slight body movement and some footwork. As I get a little warmer, I'll practice some pivots to change directions. Once my old muscles feel less stiff, I'll pick up the pace and move a little quicker. I'll throw in some feints and some quicker head and foot movement as well. Round 5, we're still shadow boxing, but we're punching with a little movement. Don't worry, there is a method to all of this madness. And for the most part during this round, I will roughly stay in one spot and throw some punches. For the first minute, I'll start with some short range punches like the uppercuts, so that I don't have to extend my arms out very far when they're stiff. I'll also begin throwing some light short hooks to the body as well. So a little upper body movement and some short uppercuts or hooks for the first minute. For the second minute, once I feel a little more loose, I'll transition to throwing some straight punches. What I want to make sure of here is that my shoulders are coming up high enough to protect my chin, and that my punches are traveling in as straight as a line as possible towards their target. For the final minute of the round, I'll focus on some hooks to the head. One hook at a time, and then I'll return to my boxing stance. What I'm really looking to do during this last minute is to get that rotation of my hips and my core into my shots. That will be the key to both punching with power and having more endurance. You see, if you're only using your arm to throw a hook, it doesn't really hurt anyone all that much. Yet because you're only using the muscles of your arm and shoulder, you're going to quickly get tired. But here, my arm doesn't move all that much. It's my legs and my core that are rotating to throw the shots. That means that my punches will be much more powerful because they have a lot more momentum due to the greater mass that I put behind them. And it will take a lot longer for the muscles of my core and legs to tire as compared to simply using the smaller muscles of my arms. Round 6, we're going to punch with some movement. This round, just have some fun putting your punches together as you simply keep moving. Keep your heart rate up as you use your imagination. Pretend that you have someone in front of you and that you're trying to hit them while not getting hit in return. Move those feet and practice getting from point A to point B and delivering your punches once you're there. Keep moving and have fun with it. Just make one note, I'm not putting a huge amount of power into these shots, maybe 40 to 50% power. What I'm trying to do is just stay fluid. After you have rested, let's move on to 3 rounds of the double-ended bag. In a boxing gym, I would probably reverse the order and do the heavy bag before doing the double-ended bag, but I want to make sure that I'm super warm before putting any real power into my shots. So the double-ended bag it is. Now if you don't have a double-ended bag, then you can do these same rounds on the heavy bag, and if you don't have any bags at all Well, then you could just keep shadow boxing and do the exact same movements that we're about to do using the bags. I simply love the double-ended bag as it's easy on the joints and it's fun trying to hit that little sucker. So round 7, sprints on the double-ended bag. For the first half of the round, I throw straight punches, so just left, right, left, right. Move around the bags as you sprint if you like. Trust me, once you get used to the timing of the bag, it's not all that hard. Now, if at any point your shoulders and lungs are burning, stop, put your hands down, rest, and then continue as soon as you're able. For the second half of the round, I will continue to do the sprints, but with the hooks rather than the straight punches. Try once again to use your hips and your core as much as possible. And again, if you get tired, rest and continue when you can. No worries, you take the time that you need. Just try and finish the entire workout. Your body and your spirit will thank you for it later. Round 8. Let's use a little movement on the double-ended bag. Throw whatever punches you like, just keep your feet moving around the bag. Try not to continuously circle the bag in the same direction because you don't want to get dizzy. So in these rounds, I'm mostly looking to make sure that my shoulders come up high enough to protect my chin as I punch. Too many people are worried about their hand position, but great boxers like Ali box with their lead hand down. But their shoulder always comes up high enough to protect that chin as they punch. And so, I do that. And I keep breathing and I try to circle the bag as I punch it. Round number 9. Let's mix it up a bit on the double-ended bag. If you look closely, you will notice there is some white duct tape covering the bungee attachments for the double-ended bag. Well, I did that so that you could easily track the bag in this video, but I will also target the lower bit of tape with some light, and let me emphasize light bodywork. That bit of tape will give me a target to aim for, and it will protect my gloves from the hooks of the bungee cables. So during this final round for the double-ended bag, I will use my imagination going both to the head and to the body, and I will just keep moving. Now if you miss the bag, just relax, it's no big deal. Reset and catch it on the next one. And again, if you're exhausted or those shoulders are really burning, don't kill yourself. Put your hands down, take a few moments to regroup, and then continue as always as soon as you're able. By now you should definitely be feeling the burn. Now if you feel completely spent, just walk over to the bag and like Rocky, just go the distance and finish the rounds. And you can just continue with some very light movement. Just try and get through the round if you can. Okay champ, let's move on to the 3 rounds of the heavy bag. Now that you are nice and sweaty, we can put some mustard into your shots. Remember to snap your punches off of the bag. You don't want to push so deeply into the bag that your wrist collapses. So round 10, we're going to start off with some sprints on the bag. Once again, we go with the repetitive movement of these sprints. You will start the first half of the round with non-stop straight punches. Not super hard, maybe 60% power. Now you may be asking, what's up with all these sprints? Well, boxing is the sport of repetition, and right now you are using boxing movements that will help develop your muscles, your muscular endurance, and your central nervous system to make throwing these punches just a reflex, where you're not even going to have to think about how to throw them. YouTube any of the greatest boxers hitting the bag, and you're going to see that it's not a fancy spinning back fist or a 25 killer punch combo. It's simple repetition. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. For me, the most important thing is that you get used to throwing these punches with as little thought as possible. Using your hips and making sure not so much that your hands are high, but that your shoulders stay high enough to protect your chin as you unload on the bag. The second half of the round, let's switch it to some hooks on the bag. Keep punching away at that bag. Use your core to punch and don't forget to breathe. Remember that if your shoulders or lungs feel exhausted, take a break and regroup, and then continue when you can. But whatever you do, just don't quit. Try and mix things up a little bit with some hooks to the body along with some hooks to the head. Round 11. The first half of this round we will now throw some harder punches at maybe 80% of your power. There is no need to throw punches as hard as you possibly can, but throw that double jab and cross hard enough so that the bag can feel your contempt for it. The second half of the round we're going to dig with some hooks. Hit again about 80% power, and you want to hurt that bag. You'll also notice that I control the bag. It's not flying all around the room. Of course, I could send it flying everywhere, but I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm here to put in some work, and I don't want to waste half of the round with a bag that's swinging all over the place. And so I throw my hooks, and then I crowd in to smother my opponent's counterpunches, and I stabilize the bag before I throw again. Round 12. If you've made it this far, then you're killing this. This round, move around and throw whatever punches that you like on the heavy bag. Mix it up, but keep it interesting. I'm just looking to burn some energy here. I'm going to be continuously throwing between 50 and 80% power. So I'm mixing it up. Light, light, hard, hard, light, light, hard. I just keep moving, and notice the bag will move around because I'm hitting it from different directions. But I often use my lead arm, shoulder up high, to stabilize the bag so that it just doesn't keep swinging. And I keep saying this, but remember that if any time you feel exhausted, take that break for a moment and regroup, but finish the round. Even if you only lean against the bag, finish the round. Get mentally used to hanging in there for the entire 3 minutes. By the end of this round, whew, I'm tired. Now we're going to finish off our championship home gym workout with 3 rounds of the speed bag. If you don't have a speed bag, then you can return to jumping rope for the final 3 rounds to cool down. If you have a speed bag, then I know your shoulders are burning, but you can do this, so just hang in there. It's the championship rounds, and you are almost done. For rounds 13, 14, and 15, I'm going to try and do them all straight. So I'm going to forgo my 30-second break and just do the whole thing straight through. But you, if you are new, make sure you take that minute break in between rounds and rest up. And at any point during these rounds, remember, if you feel those shoulders burn, then put your hands down and rest, and continue once again as soon as you're able. What I'm looking to do in these final rounds is build up some shoulder endurance and some mental toughness. It's all mind over matter now, and if you don't mind, then it definitely don't matter. I'm also looking to build up my reflexes and my hand-eye coordination. What's really happening right here is that I'm getting used to objects moving quickly towards my eyes. The speed bag doesn't pose any real danger and it's not going to hit me, but I'm getting used to tracking the bag and keeping my focus on it, even while I'm this tired. And that's going to help me stay nice and focused and help me not blink on another day while I'm sparring. Basically, I'm teaching my body and my brain to keep those hands moving and eyes focused even while I'm exhausted. I use the heel of my hand to make contact with the bag. My elbows are not flared out too high, and I alternate from hand to hand to limit shoulder fatigue. I also use the momentum of my core to keep my hands moving. Woo! Even though it's literally freezing outside, I'm boiling and I'm sweating like a beast. And this is what you're after. If you normally leave the gym and you're not sweating, well, my friend, your workout wasn't that productive. And if you can sweat in below freezing temperatures, well, then something is working hard. And yeah, my friend, what's working hard is you. And if you finish this workout, then my hat's off to you. Because this was an old school 15-round workout, and even if you rested the full minute in between rounds and took as many breaks as you needed to, you, my friend, hung in there for a full hour of pugilistic calorie smashing. So in that time, I'm telling you that hour was much more effective than spending it on the elliptical machine, the bike, or the treadmill. And it wasn't some 5-hour marathon that would be catabolic to your muscle tissue. This type of workout will get you lean, mean, and explosive. And I know it was tough, but try this 3 times a week and the results will speak for themselves. And best of all, when people ask you what you've been doing that's gotten you looking so great, you can look in their eyes and simply tell them that you've been spending a little more time at home. Thanks for watching, and this has been Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition. And if you like these videos, then please click below to like or subscribe, as we're constantly posting up great tips and new ideas that are meant to get you into the absolute greatest shape possible.